If you're looking to purchase a home in 2021, you most likely have heard of FHA loans. In this video, we're going to be walking you through what an FHA loan is and if it's right for you. There are hundreds of different loan products out there today for home buyers. So what is all the hype about FHA loans and why do so many home buyers use them? Hi everyone, I'm Megan Marsh, owner of Keystone Alliance Mortgage, a mortgage brokerage in Pennsylvania. And in today's video, we're going to be digging into FHA loans. We're going to walk through what an FHA loan is. I'll cover what you need to qualify, what credit scores, down payments, and we'll also be looking at some other interesting facts about FHA loans. The goal is for you to walk away with some great guidance on if purchasing with an FHA loan is right for you. But before I dig into the details, I want to ask you a favor. If you're new to our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell so you get notified when we upload new videos. We are creating videos every week to make you a more educated and savvy home buyer and homeowner and real estate investor. And if you have a question as I go along through the information, please leave in the comments below so that we can answer for you later. So let's start by digging into what an FHA loan is. So an FHA loan is a mortgage like any other loan that's given to you by a bank or a lender, but it's guaranteed by HUD through the Federal Housing Administration. This means that in the case of default or non-payment, FHA will help the bank so that they don't lose as much money. And because of that, banks feel more comfortable lending FHA loans than a lot of other types of loans. One of the reasons I think FHA loans are so awesome is that FHA loans can be used by anyone. There's a misconception that you need to be a first-time home buyer, but that's not the case. You can be purchasing your second home, your fifth home. The only restriction that FHA does have is that they don't like people to have more than one FHA loan at a time unless you meet a list of exceptions. Those exceptions are things like moving to a new location that's over 100 miles away from your current FHA home and loan. Moving to a new house that's within 100 miles, you can get the exception if you're moving to a house that needs to accommodate a larger family size. So what types of FHA loans are available? You've got purchase loans, refinances. There's a special refinance called a streamline refi. And then there's also FHA renovation loans if you want to do some home improvement when you purchase or when you refinance. So what are the requirements to qualify for an FHA loan? Let's start with credit. FHA doesn't technically have a minimum credit score requirement, but they do create some parameters for banks to follow. So 580 credit scores we'll start with is where you need to have a score to put 3.5% down, which is one of the biggest benefits of FHA loans, the minimum down payment of 3.5%. If you fall below a 580 score, you can still get an FHA loan with 10% down. And I know that there are some of you thinking, I have a 610 credit score or 585, but I was told by a bank that I could not get an FHA loan. And what I want to share with you is, even though FHA does not create these parameters, banks still choose what they feel most comfortable with. And typically, your local banks that you walk into aren't going to be your best bet if you've got a lower credit score. That's where coming to a mortgage broker is going to give you more flexibility and more lenience to get into a house. And below that 620 mark, FHA is going to be the gold medal winner. So how about the property qualifying for an FHA loan? Let's start with types of houses. So your single family home, FHA does all day long. 2 to 4 units is one of the best benefits of FHA loans. You can buy a 2 to 4 family home with 3.5% down. There's no other loan program that does this. You can buy a condo if it's approved by FHA, and you can buy a manufactured home. It's really where property conditions come in that FHA is a little bit different. When the appraisal gets done on the house with an FHA loan, the appraiser has been trained that they have to look for safety issues because HUD and the Federal Housing Administration want to make sure you're moving into a home that is safe for you and your family. And things that get called out as examples, chipped and peeling paint, railings on different stairwells. They like to see the space in attics and in basements. Those are just a few. There's more than that. If you'd like to see a list of all the things that can pop up, we'll put a link in the comments below so that you can get a list of all of those conditions and also the inspections that can be required on FHA loans. Sometimes it's these conditions and inspections that are required that turn some real estate agents or home sellers off. But the smartest thing would be for a listing agent to go through a house before they list it and to point out the things that could come up with an FHA appraisal. Let's go through what some of the advantages and disadvantages are for FHA loans. So one of the biggest advantages is the 3.5% down payment that can be gifted to you. Doesn't have to be your money. There are more lenient credit requirements that we talked about before. And then seller's assistance. You can get up to 6% in seller's assistance, which helps home buyers be able to get into the property with just that 3.5% down payment. And that really helps bring the amount you need down to a very minimum amount. Another advantage is that you can have a co-signer on an FHA loan if you have no income or not enough income to cover the house that you want to purchase. The rates are low on FHA loans, lower than even a lot of conventional loans. And the mortgage insurance and the rates are relatively the same no matter what your credit score is. The disadvantages with an FHA loan is that the mortgage insurance never falls off. There is what's called an MIP, which is a mortgage insurance premium that gets rolled into the loan amount that you're not going to see on conventional loans, but you do have those on other government loan types. And like I had mentioned before, some real estate agents and some sellers prefer conventional loans over FHA loans. So then let's go on to the next question that a lot of people ask about FHA loans. Are they cheaper or are they more expensive? Now, because I talked to you about needing less money with FHA loans, does it mean it's cheaper? And not necessarily. And once again, this is really going to depend on those three things that we discussed above. So if you have a higher credit score and you know FHA is going to charge you this monthly mortgage insurance that will be more expensive than a conventional loan if you have really good credit and it never falls off. But if you're someone, let's say, who has a 610, a 646 credit score, then FHA is going to be a less expensive option for you than conventional loans because that monthly mortgage insurance is going to skyrocket on a conventional loan. And so if you've got that higher credit, you need to really dig in deeper and look at both options and what you need most. Less money down, or it's okay to pay a little bit more through the monthly mortgage insurance. Because the only way you can remove that PMI on an FHA loan is if you put 10% down and then you wait 11 years. And it wasn't always the case with FHA. There was a time when FHA mortgage insurance fell off, even with that minimum down payment. So if you purchased a home with an FHA loan in the last, say, 7 or 8 years, I would look into making sure, does your MI fall off or do you need to refinance at some point to remove the mortgage insurance? We've had some people who went into an FHA loan just in the past few years, and because it's such a strong market and homes are increasing in value, they've been able to remove their mortgage insurance by their home appraising for more within just a few years. Now, one area or one option that I don't think a lot of people think about enough with FHA loans that I want to make sure we talk about in this video is that you think of FHA loans as just not needing a lot down. But something that a lot of people and a lot of agents don't think about is that when people are buying their first home and you don't have a lot of money, is that FHA has this renovation option. And if you are having a hard time saving up for the down payment or saving for your closing costs, then you're going to struggle to come up with what you're going to need if you need to replace a heater or a boiler or a roof. And so considering that you can put 3.5% down and add home improvement and renovations to a loan, I would highly recommend that you consider it because you can do this simple renovation loan, putting as much as $35,000 in renovations into this home so that you don't have to think about those things down the road. It's a very simple way that you can roll these costs into your mortgage. And they even allow the house to not even appraise for the total of the purchase price plus the renovations to give you some wiggle room. We have a whole video on this program that you can find And there's a link in the description below. Make sure that you check it out. So how do you apply for an FHA loan? Because not all banks offer FHA loans. You are more likely to find a mortgage-only lender or mortgage broker like Keystone Alliance Mortgage that's going to help you apply for an FHA loan. So the steps in the mortgage process are the same for FHA loans as they are for any other type of loan. We have a whole video series that walks you through every step of the mortgage process that you can watch by clicking in the links in the description. And we have a short version as well that we'll put there. The biggest differences in the process with FHA loans, I'm going to point out what I think are the biggest differences, and it's mainly in the guidelines. And the differences are mainly in the guidelines. So the first one is what's called identity of interest, which means if you have a relationship, a family relationship with someone you're purchasing the home from, or you already live in the property, then FHA says, hey, you have to put 15% down unless you can prove you've lived in this house for 6 months, or the person you're buying it from in your family lived there as their primary residence. They just add some quirky different rules. The way that you prove this to your underwriter is by providing proof of utility bills or, showing that you've been in this property. The second thing that's different is, like we discussed before, safety issues when appraising the property. And the third thing is if you want to rent out your current home and go buy a house using FHA, they have some different rules. Like if you want to use rent on your current home to move into a new house, FHA won't let you use it unless you can prove that you have 25% equity on the home you're moving out of. And there are thousands of pages of miscellaneous rules like this that you just can't know till you dig into it. But those will give you an idea of the things that we see in and behind the scenes. So some pro tips I wanted to share about getting an FHA loan and how hard it is to get one. Because in my opinion, I think that FHA loans are one of the easiest loans to get approved for. If I was selling my home, I would not consider taking a conventional loan over FHA for that very reason. FHA allows home buyers to have a higher debt-to-income ratio. They are more lenient on employment, and the banks feel protected with HUD backing them. So your chances of getting approved for an FHA loan are much higher than a conventional loan. And how long does it take to close on an FHA loan? So the national average for anyone buying a home is about 50 days. Now, a lot of closing timeframes depend on you as a home buyer and the house that you're purchasing. But in general, I would say FHA does take maybe an extra week longer than a conventional loan because there are some extra steps and precautions that lenders and underwriters need to take to make sure that HUD can guarantee the loan. So for your closing time frame, that's a very individual answer that depends on you. I would recommend asking your loan officer in the mortgage company that you're working with. And thank you so much for tuning in today. We can't wait to see any comments and questions or feedback you have for us. If you liked this video or learned something from the video and would like to see more, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notifications each week when we release a new video or webinar. And remember, finding the right mortgage advisor who will fight for your dreams and educate you and help you build a foundation for your future is what will set you up for success. Click on the link below and schedule a call with one of our mortgage experts today, and we'll see you next time on our next video.